Hey everybody, so finally getting a chance to do a video of the finished 1986 RM125. So it's been kind of a long time coming. I did my grand unveiling out here a little while back. It's kind of fun to do that. I do that with my family, but got the 86 finished. Started working on it last year, and in the middle of working on it, literally in the middle of working on it, I started working on my garage. So built my new shop for the bikes to go in, and place for me to work, a better place for me to work than where I was, and then continued on, and this was the first bike I finished in the new shop. So I'm going to take you a quick ride around the 86 Suzuki RM125, a little bit about what I did, what was involved, and and kind of where we're at now. So turned out great. I say this on every build, but I always say this one is my favorite one. But I'm going to say it again, this one's my favorite one. I wanted one of these when I was a young kid, never got it. 35 years later, here it is. So let's take a look and go from, say, front to back here. I pretty much do my builds exactly the same way, and I tear them down, basically all the way down the frame, of course, like anyone would do. I put the motor on the bench so I can take a look at it, and then I immediately send the frame and the shock spring out to be powder coated, any other parts that may need it. So I go ahead and do that. In this case, I sent the frame, the shock spring, and the exhaust because I wanted the exhaust sandblasted, and that guy will take care of me on sandblasting while he's got the parts. So did that, put the motor on the bench so I could get into it, and away we go. So first of all, take a look. The blue frame, blue motor Suzuki. So for those who know or don't know, the blue motors were a staple for Suzuki in 1986, 87, and 88. The blue frame hung around a little longer, I think before 86 even, and then after. But the blue motors, 3-year run. And look at that. So this engine was completely torn apart. I replaced all of the bearings and seals with OEM parts. And you'll have to forgive me because I don't remember the name of the company I used for the bolt kit. But it was a great bolt pack. So I really need to dig into that and remember where I got it from, and mention that, because they sent me a hell of a nice kit. So anyway, got the started working in the bottom end. I ended up having to replace the crank, so there was some work to do there. I got a good decent crank, and then I had to get it rebuilt and things. So a lot of work there on the bottom. While that was going on, had the cylinder and the head sent over to Millennium Technologies. They've always taken good care of me to get that cylinder resurfaced and get a matching piston, get everything back together there. So got that taken care of, and then they sent it back, and then I sent it over to be powder coated. So the engine cases and the cylinder were powder coated with the same color blue as the frame to match. So once I got those things, while that was being done, sent the parts off that I need, or that I would get vapor blasted, which are going to be the forks, the shock body, the carburetor typically, the clamp, steering clamp. All of those things I usually send over to Premier Vapor Blasting right here in Georgia, and he takes good care of me on that. That would also include any parts such as the motor mounts, things like that. So most of the other parts I take care of myself on the buffing wheel, such as the shifter, the let's go around here and look at the kick. Kickstart was I think it was spray painted, is most all older bikes, somebody spray painted them. So once I got the engine components back from powder coating, I began working on the bottom end, because meanwhile I had gotten parts together for it. Went ahead and this, once I also got the pipe back. Now this is a stock exhaust. Look at this thing. Isn't it in good shape? For 30 whatever years old, this thing. I painted it with the satin finish. It looks a little shiny in this video, but it's a satin finish high temp paint that I've used before. I've had good results with it. So those are the things I was working on. Meanwhile, I sent the shock and the forks over to Pro Action, and Pro Action Suspension has taken care of me on probably my last 3 builds. Does a good job, has a good turnaround time. I like their prices, and I think they're good guys. So I've been using them for my builds lately. Meanwhile, ordered front and rear fender, and ran into the first issue, which is 2 things: radiator shrouds and side number plates. There are no side number plates for these bikes in the universe. You hear what I'm saying? The universe. So you have to either get a reproduction of some sort, and they make them, or you've got to refinish yours. So let me tell you what happened here. I refinished mine. I also ordered the remanufactured side number plates, and I got them in and didn't like them, so I sent them back. So what I ended up doing is keeping the ones I've got here, and I just cleaned and sanded and sanded and sanded and cleaned and sanded, and they're not perfect, but they are certainly not bad either, because they weren't broken. So anyway, got those fixed up. Of course, did the sanding process on the tank, and it turned out real nice. It's still got some scratches in it here or there, but I don't worry too much about the deep scratches. I'm not that good at removing those, but I am pretty decent at refinishing a tank, so it turned out really nice, and I'm proud of it. So take a look at this seat. Look at this thing. Look at it. Isn't that nice? That's from Vintage Suzuki. So basically, Vintage Suzuki as a company, you can find them online, and I use them to actually, I bought the seat cover and the seat foam from them, and I actually sent my seat base, because my seat base was in good shape, and I sent that base to them, and they recovered the seat with the products I bought from them and sent it back to me. So I got back a fully finished seat. And what a great job they did. I mean, really good job on this seat. I was really proud of it. So the turnaround time was a bit extensive, but you know, I had a lot of time to wait because I was working on other parts. So not bad. Also, I bought their remanufactured radiator shrouds. I wasn't sure how they would, you know, how they would look, or you know, what they would look like on the bike, but they turned out great. I was really impressed with those. I liked those a lot better than I liked the side panels. So kept those, and then what I did was bought a decal kit from EVO MX, and I want to plug them right there. EVO MX. They are in the UK, and they have a kit for this bike that includes that entire number plate, so you can kind of see that graphic on there. So that includes that, and then a full graphic for the radiator shroud. So I bought those 2 things separately from them. I've used them before. They have some really good kits. But then I bought a separate number plate kit for the bike, and you really can't tell if it's any different than anything else. So so that went right on top. I wasn't real sure how that was going to work out, but it worked out good. And I get my bike or my number plate kits from Bike Graphics. I think they've got a good deal on these number plate kits, and they have it for just about any bike, and you can always catch a sale here and there. They have a lot of different coupon codes during different times of the year, you know, for Labor Day, Memorial Day, 4th of July, different things like that. So I've used them several times. They've got some good kits, and I like them. So that's where those came from. I also from EVO MX. I tried to gather up some what I would call maybe period correct decals, and that might be run on this bike during 1986. And so I definitely think I've got that. I think that looks great. And the idea here was that this to look like a, say, a privateer motocross bike for 1986, whether it be motocross or supercross. Last few things is the silencer that was on the bike was destroyed. DG still makes a silencer for this bike, and so I bought that from them. You can see up in there is the a rubber connector. That is not standard on the 86, maybe the 87 or 88, but at least not the 86. That's from a 91, and I had to modify that a little bit, but it makes a nice tight connection in the frame, and it gives it you know, the room to vibrate as well, just like it's supposed to. So that worked out well. The swing arm I refinished on my own, which I normally do, and quite honestly I could probably do a little better on that. You can see a couple of little flaws in it here and there, but those were pretty deep, and I was somewhat happy with how it turned out, so I left it right where it was. Excuse me, a few little flaws here and there doesn't bother me too bad. Doesn't have to be perfect, but I do like it to look nice. So it came out nice. Replaced a lot of OEM parts here that I could find. That's going to be the chain adjuster bolts here. This actual chain adjuster mechanism here that comes on it is not, you can't find those, so you have to refinish the one you've got, and so that I did that one. Of course, new nuts and bolts, all that I could you know, get by OEM. The axle in this, of course, is still the same axle, but it was in great shape. It was really surprising that it was. So replaced all those pieces. Of course, to repaint this hub, and then these wheels were sent out, or these hubs were sent out to W Wheel for a OE rebuild. I've used them several times, and you can't go wrong. They have a nice product, I think, at a great price. So I've used them a couple of times, and they make a great package. So I put together the XL wheels with silver, just the silver wheels, silver spokes, just like it would have been in 1986. And of course, I always try to outfit my wheels with a set of Dunlops. These are Dunlop Geomax MX53s, and these are great all-around tires. So got those on the front and the back. So let's move on. The pegs, I used a wider foot peg. So on these bikes, this is, I think, from a this peg is an IMS peg from a maybe a mid-90s or early 90s. But the way that the mount is on the frame here, you have to drill that out just a little bit bigger for the pins to fit. So that's what I did here. I went ahead and coated this brake pedal black, just because I really wasn't sure if I wanted it black or silver. So I went with the black, and I don't know, I like it. Let's see, moving on, the radiators were in good shape. One of them was, the other one I had to replace. And then the screens that come on these back in 86, these are metal screens, actually, just metal screens. And those I just needed to straighten out and just kind of iron those out nice and flat and get those repainted, all with the high temp paint. So the radiator in here looks great. That screen looks great. New hoses. I went straight back with the factory style black hose. I was going to use another color, but I thought, nah, I don't think that's going to work on this particular build, so I didn't. Let's see, I were missing some parts on the airbox I was able to find on eBay, along with the full floater decals. I found those on eBay. The chain guide is the same one that was on it. Couldn't find another one of those, so this one just got cleaned up really nice and then put back on. It's not too bad. Chain slide, of course, I always try to replace those. On the 86 model, these were actually a white color, very similar to that, so they got dingy pretty quick. Found a company that made it in black, so I went ahead and replaced that. Of course, the mud flap, and then I cleaned up the air box and got it nice and fresh again. Let's see here, the sprockets and the chain. These are a Rocky Mountain ATV brand. Gosh, I can't remember. What's the name of the? Gosh, I forgot the name of the primary drive. That's it. They make a heck of a nice chain, and if you don't believe me, I've put one to the test on that bad boy right there, and they have made a good chain. Like it or not, they have. So I chose the Gold X-Ring chain from Rocky Mountain ATV for this bike, and sprockets. And a lot of OEM parts I get from there. I also order from Babbitt's. I also order from motorsport.com. So you just have to check around for your your OEM parts. You might find a company that doesn't have some, and you might find a company that does have some. So you just have to check around. I do. I usually 3 or 4 places, and I look for those OEM parts, and then I move on to the to aftermarket if that's what it takes, or restoration of the one I have if I can. So that pretty much rounds out the bottom half. Oh, I remember the carburetor that was on this bike was incorrect, and it looked similar to that, but I realized it, and was able to find one on eBay, believe it or not, an entire carburetor. So got it cleaned up and put on the bike. And then let's see, this boot that's on here now was incorrect. I was able to get another one of those, the OEM clamps, and that's it. Now up top, I go back and forth on bars, but in this build, I went with a graphite colored Pro Taper 7/8 bar, and then a new kill switch, Pro Taper clutch perch, and then that's actually an OEM brake lever and boot. So got those taken care of, a new throttle tube, and then of course I always go with the ODI grips. I like those a lot, and I think that's just about it. This bike runs great. Oh, the fork boots, those also came on eBay. I think those are Polysport. You can usually find those pretty much anywhere. Oh, I don't want to leave out Galfer. I buy all my brake lines from Galfer because they have a very extensive line of brake lines for even older bikes such as this one, and I had to rebuild the brake caliper there, but the brake line itself is from Galfer, so I use them a lot. And then this right here is a secret part. It is very similar to the Suzuki part that's no longer available, but it's a Yamaha. Shh, don't tell anybody. It matches right up. So that Yamaha brake guide will work good for a lot of applications, especially something like this where you're trying to keep it just under the number plate, like the factory one was. So guys, I hope you enjoyed looking at the bike and kind of seeing what I did. If you have any questions at all about something I may have used or a product that I used, just let me know. You can comment down below. I'll do a little better job of answering you guys back and getting you back the answers to the question. One of the things though is the bike did turn out fantastic. I love it. I love the old Suzukis and these blue motors. I mean, I've been after one of these things literally for 35 years, and so I was so excited to get it. I paid around $400 for this bike. Honestly, I don't know what I've got in it. I may need to sort that through, but I've got a pretty good bit in it. But I also sold some parts to help pay for that, which is typically what I do. So anyway, I appreciate it, guys. like I said, if you have any questions, just let me know. Thanks a lot.